tales of long-lost faces gone so pale. Flickering lights on corners weep, silent voices haunt the deep. Every door seems like a play, murmuring secrets to the key. Where have you gone? Where did you stray? Into the night or the light of day? Missing shadows cast away, gone without a word to say. Photos lie on dusty shelves, memories trapped like lonesome elves. Echoes of laughter fade to gray as time's
Open the door starts now.
My creatures of the night. Yes, once again, it is midnight lycanthropy time here on Lorde Starfox Radio. We have, of course, a Miss Hartman, a bi-weekly host on numerous shows that we churn out in the good old podcast section over here on Lorde Starfox Radio. Yet we also have a friend of ours and a friend of the North American Dogman Project hanging out with us tonight. I am referring to, of course, Shannon. She has some very interesting information to share with the audience tonight, and hopefully we can potentially answer some questions for her. What we're going to do is, of course, see how Miss Hartman has been, as well as Shannon, and then on my part, I am going to toss Shannon the mic and let her take center stage. Barb, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing fine. I'm really excited to talk to Shannon. Kenny, as you know, Shannon contacted me a few days ago and said, was I aware of any Dogman Facebook pages or any resources in our area? Because she and I are both out on the Olympic Peninsula. And actually, I'm only about 30 miles, like as the crow flies, from where she had this sighting. And I said, and I kind of just asked her a few more questions. And then I was like, we need to get somebody, from the NADP, the North American Dogman Project. We need to get somebody to get this sighting on record, because it really is the best thing to do is to get it, right away, right after it happens. We know, your brain kind of almost like shuts out things that it doesn't want to know. But it also then sometimes will add things in. So it's best to get it out right away. And then, of course, who do I know from the NADP but my good friend Kenny? So I'm glad that we can get together and do this. And Shannon also knows, what did you say, about 6 people that have seen Bigfoot in this area? Doesn't surprise me.
That is correct. Yep.
So welcome, Shannon. And I guess, we're so happy to have you. You want me to just have her just get right into your sighting, and then we'll let you know if we have any questions. Does that sound good, Kenny?
Yeah, definitely. Shannon, how you doing tonight, though, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm excited just to talk out loud instead of keeping in my head about this. And I've said a couple things to my husband, but you guys are obviously experts. You have more knowledge. You have more encounters, sightings, people that you've chatted with. So for me, just to get it out, because this just happened on Sunday. So this is literally this week. And I stewed on it and I thought about it. I'm like, I just need to talk. I need to tell someone. I've never known another person in this area that has referred to anything like a dogman or an upright or this type of animal. I just don't know where to go. So when I reached out to Barb, found out she's actually local, I was like, oh, thank God, somebody that is probably more familiar with and there's so many native tribes around here and indigenous people. And I grew up, my great grandmother is full-blooded Cherokee, and we've only verbally talked and to my mom and my mom to myself, about skinwalkers and things like that. But this just seems completely like something that I've not seen. I don't know one other person that has seen an animal like this. So this was just, and I am very real. I am very a matter of fact. This is how it is. This is my encounter. I'm sure other people have seen ghosts and other people have seen, Bigfoot. Other people talk about sirens in the ocean, and we are here in the Pacific Northwest on the ocean. But this is definitely something that I just had to say. I have to say something, and I feel compelled in a weird way.
Beautiful stuff right there. Well, you are in the right place. Miss Hartman will be able to definitely gear you in the proper direction with anything that could be listed as Bigfoot or Sasquatch activity. I definitely encourage you to speak with her a little bit more outside of what we're doing here. I have a ton of other people that we all work with that would gladly help you out in regards of that. And before I give you the mic, final thing I'm just going to say here is I've never had any sort of paranormal or cryptid encounters. A lot of my science team and also a lot of the other people I collab with have. I'm just a journalist here that tries to gather information and speak to individuals that have seen these strange creatures or have unknown vocalizations that can't be verified. And I try to make sure to get all that stuff in the proper place with individuals that do specialize in all that. Anytime you need help, we will definitely help you out. And I'm going to toss you the mic, my friend.
All right. Well, it was Sunday. It was the day before my dad's birthday. My dad's birthday is September 1st. And I said, Dad, why don't you come out with our friends, and we're going to go use our UTVs out in the woods. We're just headed up here locally up the Wainuchi Valley Road. And there's just an immense amount of Olympic National Forest. So you can go to the river bottoms, you can go to the mountain tops. Literally, I think our highest elevation was 3,600 feet. And when we were at the top, I noticed a lot of smoke in the distance. Right now, actually, there's a lot of wildfires just north of us and north of the area we were at in Shelton and Mason County. There's a lot of large fires. So these are just things just to set the setting for you. We were on logging roads. We figured it would be Labor Day and pretty busy up there. And in fact, it wasn't. There wasn't as many, maybe a couple of Outbacks and a couple of one other UTV and like a Jeep. So it was very low key. It was great. The roads were semi-dusty. You get down in an alder grove or an alder patch, and the roads were a little bit more wet, so there wasn't as much dust. It was just perfect riding conditions for the four of us to go out. My husband and I are always in the front, so my husband is very familiar with all of the roads out here, all the A lines, the B line, down over Cedar Creek, come down at the Satsop Center. Like all these places are very familiar. The old logging camp. The logging camp is notorious in Grays Harbor County. They call it Grisdale. And it has long gone, and it looks literally like a ghost town. When I was little, people would talk about it on our school bus. We would talk about what the men, the lumberjacks and the men saw when they were falling old growth trees. They would be ran out of camp, just hearsay, but there's got to be a little bit of truth to it. I actually know a lot of people that have worked in that area, and they grew up as teenagers in that area, and their accounts are actually pretty bizarre, but just noteworthy, very noteworthy to keep in the back of your mind. And so on Sunday, we decided to get up early. We finally hit the trails. We parked our truck and trailers, hit the trails, got up to the very top. Like I said, we were at elevations of 3,600 feet. We went down to a lake. There's a little trail. It's about 400-foot trail straight down to a lake. And we took off our T-shirts. We had leggings on and took our socks off, and we jumped in. Me and my sister, my little nephew, who's 10. And my dad and my father-in-law were there, and they were like, oh, we're going to stay up here and get a bite to eat out of the cooler. And I'm like, all right. So we did that, jumped in the little lake and put our dry clothes back on and hiked back up. And it was about, we had a little thermometer on our dash. It was about 72 degrees where we were at. Down in the lower levels, there was no smoke from the wildfires. It was more damp, more cold, maybe about 63, 65 degrees. So it was cooler down in the lower end area. So we had a blast, such a good day. Our friend came down from Mount Vernon. He's been side by siding with us for probably 3 years. And he and I always joke about seeing Sam Squatch. We just say, oh yeah. And I go, you know how I know Sasquatch is a female? And he goes, how? And I go, because she's full of sass. And then I said, you know how I know when it's a Sasquatch? And he goes, how? And I go, because he has a big, you know what? And then he just started laughing like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I know, this dad jokes, right? So I have never seen one. I actually know about 6 people. I grew up in a close local Christian church and always went to youth group on Wednesdays. And I remember some of our neighbors came to my talk to my dad in our driveway. I was like 16 years old. I think I was a sophomore in high school. And he goes, hey kid, how you doing? I said, good. He goes, well, I got something I got to tell your dad. You need to get up to the house. It's kind of private. And I'm like, all right. And he never used to do that kind of stuff, like shoo the kids away. He was the kind of guy that would grab Coca-Cola out of his truck and say, don't tell your mom. And he'd give you a Coca-Cola. Well, he was talking to my dad about a Sasquatch that him and his wife had saw in their driveway. And this was also up the Wainuchi Road. And he couldn't believe it. He has since passed. His wife's still alive. And she is a huge believer. She goes to all the local Bigfoot encounter sightings, all the things. And she's an amazing person, very giving. She has 3 sons, just a neat person. But I remember people at church also bringing it up. They said they went to their favorite blackberry picking spot, and one of the ladies sitting in her truck said, hey, hun, look up. And he's like, hang on. She said, no, look up. And he looked up and he took his little wild blackberry container off his neck. He pushed it forward to the foot of a Bigfoot, got in the truck, kept his head low, and he was a lumberjack Dogman forever. And he backed out of that, and he said him and his wife never went back, and that was their favorite blackberry picking. So this must have been July, August. Well, here I am in August, right, August 31st, and I'm with a couple more people. Well, I'm the picture taker. I took a couple of at a local community college. I took a bunch of photo classes, and I have everything you can think of as far as photos go. Like I do a lot of infant photos and a couple of graduation type scenario photos for people in my family. And so here I was with only my cell phone, but I took pictures all day. And at the end of the day, I put my little phone away, and sometimes I'll take raw video, just video of us going down. We're doing about 12 miles an hour, and we got the other buggies behind us. And sometimes we'll pull over, somebody has to go to the bathroom, whatnot. Well, at the end of the day, we're headed back down the hill, and we're in the lower elevation now. We're not up in the high mountains. We're not by the smoke. And there's a dry riverbed. There's a large opening, and it's probably a 100-foot drop. And so we're coming down the mountain, and we're headed back to where our trucks were. And I'm on the passenger side. We also have headgear. I shared my photos with you guys. Feel free to share them so people kind of understand the scenario. So I have headphones on with the speaker. I'm able to talk to my husband, so we can talk freely back and forth. And if we want to talk to the other people behind us, we push a button, and you can talk, and then they push the button and talk back. So we're driving, and I'm spaced out. Now, mind you, I've been drinking water. I had a small mini Dr. Pepper during the day. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything hallucinogenic. I wasn't drinking this day at all. And I'm just minding my own business and seeing the sunshine rays come through the vine maples and the huge spruce and like the biggest hemlock I've ever seen. I just didn't know hemlocks got that big. And I'm driving through, and I'm in the passenger side, and I look over, and it's lateral, so there's not a drop off or a clay bank or anything. It's lateral from where we're at on this road. And there's kind of an opening or a clearing, and there's some big trees on the left and right and behind. But I saw this old, I would call it a cedar snag. Now, a cedar snag is an old hollow piece of cedar, usually about 20 feet up. The old cedars would either snap off, and they would be completely hollow on the inside. Well, this animal that I saw was on the cedar snag, and it had to have been about, probably, if I went over and stood next to it, I'm 5'4", so this thing was up there, probably the top of it to the bottom of its heels was above me, so it'd be probably its heels were about 6 foot off the ground, right? And I look over, and mind you, my husband has his bear tag. My dad has his bear tag. So they're like, Shannon, you're always spotting the elk and the deer and the, all the animals. Make sure if you say something, if you see a cougar or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I'm looking over to my right, just enjoying how pretty the sun rays are coming through the trees. And I see this thing grasped with hands and like weird, I would say like hook heels. It looked almost like if you ever go to the zoo and you see an orangutan, like the back of their feet are not like human feet, but they're not like bear feet or dog feet, right? They're very, very specific lower segmented back legs. So yesterday at work, I looked up the anatomy of toad legs. So this is what I'm trying to wrap myself around. I took anatomy and physiology in college. I love all that stuff. I love science. I love anatomy. I love animals. And I saw the back legs of this thing went up. Now it had no tail, and the legs went up at the knee, down to like, I don't know what it is, like a heel hook, and then these flat kind of grippy feet that went around the side of this large stump. Now the top of it had a skinny waist, and at the top of it, when it was hanging onto the top of the snake, it looked over its left shoulder like, oh crap, like, oh. And then I think we snuck up on it. We were coming down the hill around a corner and then a straight stretch. And this is where I saw it was on the straight stretch. And it turned its head, quickly looked at us in 1 second, and then let go or pushed off. Quickly, it wanted to hide. It wanted to get to the ground as a flat stance and lay on the ground as we drove by. Now, the weird thing was, and I've never seen a cougar do this. I've never seen a bear do this. It was very agile, like cat-like, in the waist only. So I don't know how to explain it, but when it let go and saw us in the same moment, looked our way, it twisted and like pushed off with its front elbows and forearms, and it got in the air, and its whole front body and torso was already flat with the ground with his hands out, and the torso, the flanks of the waist twisted in midair. That sucker's back legs like let go. I saw it like literally flatten its feet, and it was already midair, and it twisted, and it was on already lateral with the ground, and it was quickly trying to drop, and it had its hands ready. It literally had hands. And when I saw the side of profile of its head, I was like, that's when I knew that whatever this was, I've not seen, definitely not a bear. It was not a Bigfoot. It wasn't bulking. It wasn't massive and huge. This thing was strong, thin waist. And I kind of want to chalk it up to, if you remember back in the day, Arnold Schwarzenegger had huge shoulders and he had that tiny little waist. That's how this thing was. And when it turned, it was already embracing the impact of getting to the ground quick as it could. Its hands were already flat, and its feet were already like frog-like flat, like it was already ready to embrace the padded flooring of the moss and laid flat. So that's what I saw. And it was quick. It was maybe 1 or 2 seconds, but when it caught my eye, 1 or 2 or 3, probably 3 or 4 seconds to be real. And we drove by. I saw it look at us, push off, twist, and turn, and laid flush to the ground and flattened out. And I was like, and I literally at the same exact sentence, I'm like, all the things going through my head. Nope, not that. Nope, it wasn't that. Nope, there's no way it was that. There's no. And then the hair, it had almost like no neck, but it had very broad shoulders. It was the widest part of the body. And it had so much hair on the nape of its neck, and it had a dog head, and it had really upper muscular bicep and tricep, upper arms, and then almost human-like forearm, and then hands. And the hands were elongated. I don't know if they're nails or claws or like 3-digit, we only have small digits of fingers. This sucker was different. And they were black hands, black fur. And now when it was in midair and the sun was shining through, this is what caught my attention almost immediately, is I saw a bunch of olive green moss stuck to like its elbow, and the shaggy hair off of it, like where your upper rib cage would be. And I only saw the back of it. It turned its head and the whole left side, right? So I never saw the right side. It did not have a tail. And the back legs were a little bit more hairless. Like you could actually see definition tone, almost skin tone, like darker skin. or lighter skin, I guess, maybe. But you could see like I want to say the Achilles tendon and the weird feet with a heel hook. I don't know how to explain it, but I saw the moss stuck to it, and I'm like, is that thing putting moss on its fur, like on its side? Like, was that a dog mask? Because I have an Aussie Doodle. I have a black Aussie Doodle. So his name's Jack, and he's the sweetest little thing. I love him. And he gets fur, right? So his fur, you have to constantly groom him. I'm constantly clipping him. I watch YouTube videos of how, to go soft around the flanks and his lower stomach and not nip the skin and his paws and all the things. And I'm telling you, this thing was a Dogman. And I don't know how to explain it otherwise. And to be honest, I've never heard of another person. I know a lot of people here locally, and I don't think anybody's ever, I don't know. Maybe I'm just the one that I don't care if people want to ridicule or chastise me or tell me what I saw. I don't think that's right. I just am telling it how I saw it. So this thing's shoulders were massive. The fur, I can't get over the long fur. Like I looked up, if you look up on Google, you can look up something called a sloth bear. It is a long-haired bear with weird legs, like a bobcat-like back legs, and it has the long fur. But it has this tan face, definite ears and eyes, and the little jowls that bears have. To me, bears have almost a Labrador look or a Great Dane look to their nozzle and their mouth. This thing that I saw had a wolf-like man face. Like I used to have a hybrid dog. She was half wolf, and her name was Angel. And the way they play and their mannerisms, they're very different than any other dog. And this thing had a face like a wolf, but just the way that where its shoulders were placed like a human. And the hair on it, I just can't get over the hair. And why did it have moss and crap stuck to its rib cage? I could see all the hair when it jumped and twisted. I was like, what? But I saw the hands right away because that was the first thing it let go of and twisted. So the whole time I saw the hands, undeniable. And the feet, the back legs is what I also am like, what can stand like that? Like what can twist like that or more? Like where did they come along from? What are these things? And my husband laughs. He's like, well, you watch Skinwalker Ranch. I'm like, yeah, but they've never got a skinwalker. Like, skinwalkers are like, they morph. And he's like, well, we are, Twilight area, Team Jacob with the werewolf. I'm like, hun, I don't want to say that's a werewolf because that insinuates that it morphs with the lunar, timing of the calendar. I'm like, I don't know about that. But this was a Dogman, 100%. I finally looked it up like Tuesday. I looked up Dogman pictures and screenshotted them on my phone. I'm like, okay, the arms look like this, but on this Dogman, that's how the back and the shoulders look with a lot of hair. But the weird monkey back legs that are bent in a very peculiar way, I don't know. But that was my encounter. And I immediately said to my husband, I go, I just saw something weird, like a weird something. I'm like, I don't know what that was. He goes, well, we're not stopping. I'm like, yeah, obviously. And he just kept going, like whatever. And then I was talking about it again before we even got back to the trucks and the trailer. I was like, do you think somebody would be up in the forest by themselves in a black ghillie suit? Like, why would it be so tall? And why would its legs be kind of naked? But the hair on its, I'm like, I don't know, hun. It had dog head. I'm like, and hands. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm talking out loud to my husband, and I'm just like, that was the weirdest thing I have ever seen. So I don't know. I still am just trying to investigate myself because it bugs me what I saw. And then when I look online, it's not exact, right? So I'm trying to put together, my friend put it in Chat GPT, my image. I actually put it on Facebook. I put it on my personal page, like, this might be out there, and I'm going to chalk it up as an Indian sloth bear that has got wasting disease, where it wastes from the flanks back. Like dogs have that wasting disease and get that. But this was not a bear. I don't know what it was, but I really wish I had somebody who has seen a Dogman to talk to, especially in Western Washington. I read reports of Michigan or Wisconsin and government thing that went array. And I'm like, this was a actual tangible animal. This was not glitching in and out. It wasn't a shadow figure. This was a full-on animal. I mean, I saw it in detail. So I'm just excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen a Sasquatch. I've never seen a ghost. All these things I've never seen, but apparently I'm the one that gets blessed with watching a dogman who was trying to hide from us. So very interesting.
That is really interesting. What about its ears? Like, were they erect, kind of back, sticking out? What was
it was like dog ears. So they actually had the pleated triangles and were open forward, frontward. Almost like a German Shepherd, not when they're a puppy and they're flapping over. This is like a German Shepherd head, like actual straight up.
Okay.
And they were black. I could see the whole head was black. Yeah.
Wow, that's just incredible. I know that they are in the Pacific Northwest. We've had reports. I talked to a woman that saw one closer to where I live. I live on the Olympic Peninsula, but we have a house out here. I told you in Seabrook where we're getting ready to put on the rental market. And I obviously, so Sasquatch researcher, there was one video that I had put on my YouTube, and my friends who have seen Dogmen, they're like immediately contact me and they're like, there's a Dogman in that, but it was not, I didn't see it like with the, and I can't say whether it was or it wasn't. They thought that it was kind of leaning up and like looking down at me. The only thing that I can correlate to that is that there was like a smell that did smell like a stinky dog. Like if you can imagine like a dog that's like the stinkiest dog that maybe has some like skin issues. And that's what I smelled before I saw it. But I don't know. Did you smell anything?
No, I didn't smell anything. And mind you, we're going like 12 miles an hour, but just chill. And I didn't smell anything. Obviously, I didn't hear anything either. I had the earmuffs on and the speaker talk thing. So I just literally saw it in high detail. I mean, 50 feet, an open area, jumping off and then to the ground. Like I saw it in full detail. I was like, and the initial thing I said to my husband was like, I said, quote here. What the hell was that? I'm like, I go, hun, I'm not lying. I just saw something weird, like a weird something. And he's like, well, we're not turning around. That was his response. I'm like, oh.
I don't want to do that.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I go, honestly, I don't want to turn around. Like, I don't know what that was. I don't want to be up close and personal with it, but I could just imagine with how quick it was and agile, I would not want to be alone without a support out there. There's no way.
Yeah.
But I didn't smell or hear anything.
Kenny, have do does Robert Prevost, has he seen one? I feel like people that that we could have Shannon talk to that can kind of finesse because there's supposedly several different types, right, Kenny, of dogmen.
Look at you. I have got you where you can answer all kinds of great stuff. This is beautiful. Yeah. Long story short, Shannon is join all my NADP pages, befriend me on Facebook, and then I'll send you the first one. That's the main page I'm in. From there, you should be able to find the rest of the NADP pages. Definitely post up in there. And we have some beautiful members that will gladly communicate with you that have had experiences. I can also put you in contact with plenty of people, even my science team, that have had encounters with things that they potentially can't verify. Also, too, there's like 8 different versions of dogmen that are potentially recognized. I don't have my chart right in front of me, but you have ones that look like something from The Howling / Van Helsing. You have ones that look a little bit more like something out of Africa, like a giant hyena. You have some that look baboon-like. You have some that look bear-like. You have some that are more coyote-based. You have some reports coming in where they look like a fox kind of with a big bushy tail. You also have devil monkey reports coming in that fall into line with, you know, the Gugway and also some of the other Dogman sightings. So yeah, there's like a ton of great stuff out there, and I can send you, I'll put it up in the video as well so you can see it, but the chart with some of the different variants and such. We're actually trying to be a little bit more scientific based on the variants, meaning these are just ones that people speak about, yet like Barb had mentioned, one of our residential scientists that chills with us all the time, Mr. Prevo, he makes some really valid points saying that it's pretty much impossible to have something be a baboon canine or a canine bear, etc., which we really dive into. So some of the variants that are listed as Dogman maybe really shouldn't, meaning, yes, I believe there's misidentification and devil monkeys and such are involved. More or less what Mr. Prevo is trying to say is those Gugway and devil monkeys should not be over on the Dogman side. They should probably be more over on the side that Barb, you know, is investigating, more maybe like Sasquatch side and such like that. But for some reason, everyone is mixing them kind of all in. So we have them documented, but that's what we're really trying to figure out.
Yeah, and at one point I was like, maybe that was a Sasquatch in like a younger teen, or, you know, if they're a lot bigger than us, I would assume this thing's probably 17 years old. But if it was a Dogman, based off of what I saw in size, it'd be like a 30-year-old or a 25-year-old man. That's the vibe I got. Like, okay, that, I mean, I didn't see any, you know, gender related anything, but the feel I got from the view of the shoulder blades, I just can't imagine if that was you know, if there's a male female situation with them, this probably was a male. That's just, I'm just going off of, you know, gut feeling here. But yeah, and I don't think it was a Sasquatch at all. That head, no way. And the weird legs, they were almost like dog versus monkey meat or something, which is hard to explain and sounds ridiculous. But I mean, that's
well, no, it's certainly not to me. I've seen a lot. I don't think it was a Sasquatch, a juvenile, because you said you thought it was about, what did you say, like 6-7 feet tall, possibly, or
yeah, it was like 6.5 feet, man, jumping off of the sucker, but with massive front girth. There was no way, and the hair was I don't know. I was not expecting to see this animal, but the hair was great. That mane behind it was like, it had no neck. That was the other thing. I'm like, let's see, God makes this. Does he just put the head right on the shoulder? Because that thing did not have a neck. Like, I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together. I was like, what the heck? So a mutated black dire wolf who's also learned to have weird legs. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't know.
There's actually recent. Oh, go ahead, Barb.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wanted to say that real quick, and Kenny knows this because I told you I had taken a report from a guy and his brother, but he was in southwestern Washington, like almost like the Oregon line kind of, and that's where this Dogman was, and that was, he described it more of, you know, like the werewolves like in Van Helsing. That's what he said was the closest that he could, but he did talk about that thing on the back of the neck, and he said it was like if you see I think, what are they, red-maned wolf, is that what they are? I'm trying to think. I've seen these guys in person at a zoo, and anyway, that's and I'll make sure what I'm talking about, but he said that's what that reminded him of. But like those things have really long legs. It's almost like an Australian Shepherd, because you know how some of them, we have one, how it has like really long legs, like almost weirdly long for its body. Yep. But what he saw did not. It was more like more of like a man legs, and then he said more man hands, but then it had these like claws, you know.
Yeah.
So
the hands sound exactly like the hands that this thing had. Its feet and legs, absolutely not human, except for the tone, like this, you could kind of see through the skin. It was just bent legs that I couldn't wrap my mind around as I watched it let go of the side of the tree with its back half and quickly get flatly to hide on the ground. It was like, what what did I just see? I'm like, okay, I'm going through things. Human, Sasquatch, no. Cougar, no. Black, no. Melanism, I don't know. But now I was like, no, that fur and that head, it had hands, for Pete's sake. This was just was very, very real. And it just makes you second guess. Like, we're humans, right? But we don't know. I feel like as a society, sometimes I feel like we're regressing, like getting back to Neanderthal and the lowered foreheads and rah, 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 like we're getting stupider. So I just feel like I feel like, oh, we think we're so smart and we're just now finding a planet that's been there for 18 billion years and we're just now seeing it. So I think our advancements in technology is great. I think journalistic ventures and literally documentation is very wise. It's very smart. Everybody back in the day, 100 years ago, right? Everybody would go to the paper. Everybody would run to the poster board at the local post office or the old general store, and they want to read what's going on. They want to read what somebody's giving away for free or selling a horse. Like, we don't have that, right? We have platforms, social media, this website, go to www, whatever, go to this. So I miss the old documentation, the true accounts of people that aren't afraid to talk and are telling it how it is, and it is what it is. Like, I saw something and I think it's weird. I think it's cool because I'm kind of like, wait, how many are around here? Wait, do I want to go hunt anymore? Like, I think I better not go hunting alone anymore. Like, I'm second guessing my what I've known. I'm second guessing. And all those times when you think you're being watched, you probably are. And so I don't know. This is just it's very weird to me because I don't know anybody who's ever seen one. Why did I see one? And I'm like, it's weird to wrap your mind around, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, when you first see something like that, and this is something that you like, what is this? This isn't supposed to exist, because even when I saw my first Sasquatch, I was like, whoa, like I thought I was pretty sure they existed, but they do. And and then like that set me on a quest to continue to get like evidence, and that might be what's going to happen to you. You're going to want to, but I think the first thing is just, put you in touch with some people that have also seen them, because it is therapeutic to talk about this with people that know. So I'm really glad that you reached out to me, and that now you're going to be in contact with the right people. Before we let you go, and I know Kenny, do you have any more questions like with this sighting?
No, this is absolutely beautiful stuff. I just wanted to thank Shannon for hanging out with us tonight. Yet I did want to, on a final note, say that there are definitely some pretty interesting traits that get reported sometimes. I had a case where, as far as I can verify, guy's got nothing shady about him. I wasn't here with this individual, so I can't verify the fact of what he's telling me, yet I background checked him and everything, and seems like a cool enough dude. Either way, he reported something that had like kangaroo legs, more or less, he claimed, that came barreling down this hill, leapt over to the freeway, hit the freeway, then leapt back over the guardrail, was out of sight. Interesting. And also, yes, we do have female and male reports of these dogman-like creatures. The females are usually blue-eyed and a lighter ash color, a white color, and they definitely are smaller than the males. Keep in mind, though, we don't have enough documentation to fully present 100%, hey, the males are bigger than the females, meaning like great white sharks, I can sit here and tell you right now, because it's fact-based, that the females are larger than the males, right? Okay. Yep. We have enough analytics to prove this, yet I only have about 6 female dogman cases. I have so many male ones. From the 5 to 6 I've taken, it does seem like the females are smaller, and they tend to fall into what I said, like the ash coloring with the blue eyes, etc. Yet it is something that, as we gather more data, we'll try to probably get out that information. So I just wanted to thank you for chilling with us tonight. And like I said, I'll try to get you in with all the proper people. And if there's any sort of questions you have for me, definitely before we let you go, fire away. And if not, thank you for your time.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you. And before we let you go, or final thoughts, can you tell us just briefly any of the local, I want to know, like, of the local Sasquatch or Bigfoot, sightings, just briefly, that you can share that of what you've heard, in this area?
Yeah, so I think there's about 6 different people that I've overheard, or directly they've told me. 2 of them actually were firemen. So there's a road that crosses in the Olympic Peninsula here. It crosses from, if you are north of Hoquiam, you're headed north out of Hoquiam, so towards Palos Beach. There is a road that cuts to the far left, and above that, there's also like Quinault, Manda Park. So this is in that area, and I think it's off of Ocean Beach Road. Everybody around here knows that road. So
right behind me right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was up in that area, and there's a long, houses are pretty dispersed out there. There's no houses, there's no lamp lights, street lights, nothing, right? You're lucky if they even have lines on the road or a guardrail. So it's kind of primitive. So he and his co-partner, I believe he was driving, and his co-partner with this local fire department was in the passenger seat. And they took a left, and they went across this road that connects the 101 loop. And this was a pretty long road, a pretty straight stretch. And it's kind of like a dike road where it's up a little bit because it's recessed down below, and there's a lot of like younger reprod trees and some swampland, a lot of shalow brush. And they're driving straight, and he said, "Oh," and then his buddy goes, "Oh, what is that?" And then he goes, "I don't know." And he goes, "Pull up there." And they look in front of them, and this thing came out from the right, took one step across the road. Now, mind you, a county road, about 30 feet. It's about 15 foot of each side. And then, maybe my husband works for the county. And then there's a lot of, the gravel on the side. This sucker walked one step and another step and was off the road. So it walked up on one step and it's already off the road. And he goes, "Are there brush pickers out here? Because we have a lot of people that make money on the side brush picking, shalow brush, and they do the cascara barking." So he goes, "Yeah, I don't think it's the season that they do that." And he goes, "Well, I don't see any trucks or vans." And he goes, "Pull up there." And he pulls up there really quick, and he stops in the middle of the road, and him and his buddy look to the left, and sure enough, there's this huge old stump. It's rotted, fallen apart, kind of reddish color. And behind it, he said, was a really nasty swamp, like not the kind of swamp you want to go down in or hunt. And that thing was standing not in the water, but right above the water, but was standing behind the only large stump, and it blended in with the stump, which he said it had this reddish, brownish, black hair, but it knew, it's almost like it knew it blended in with that stump, and that was where it's headed. So it went, hid behind the thing. The thing was so tall, it couldn't hide its head and shoulders, and then it quickly looked at them, turned, walked straight forward into the little reprod of the fresh trees that are, 18, 20 years old. "No way." And his buddy goes, "No way, no way." And he's like, "It was walking." And he goes, "Yeah, no kidding. I saw it." And he goes, "You saw what I saw?" And he's like, "Well, it's not a person." And he goes, "Nope, not a person." He goes, "We're not telling anybody at the station." He goes, "We're not telling anybody." And they never did. They never told anybody. He has since retired from that fire department. And his son and his nephew are both officers locally. And it's just crazy to hear him tell that. And he's big into canoes. Him and his son made their own canoes. They've canoed all over the Cowlitz River, the Columbia River, and local Satsop River. But when I heard him talk about that, I was like, okay, But the 2 people that I went to church with, they are elderly folks. I think I was telling you guys about them earlier. And their favorite berry picking area. And her name was Dorothy, and his name is Dawn. And Dorothy was in the truck reading her book, and she said it was a nice day out, and she said, "Dawn, look behind you." And he wouldn't look. She goes, "Just hang on." And he is just he reminds me of an angry leprechaun, like like he's just that type of guy. And Dorothy's just sweet. She knits and reads books and is just very wholesome. And he's just full of spit and vinegar. Well, he turns and she goes, "Dawn, look behind you. And he turned the other way in front of the pickup truck. And that thing was standing right by their truck. It was not afraid of anything. And he quietly took the thing off his neck. And Dorothy said she put her bookmarker in her book and she put it on the dash. And she didn't want to look at it, but she was side-eyeing it, looking at the body, but she didn't want to make eye contact. She said that she could smell something. Her door was open. Don's window was down on the driver's side. But Don quickly just pushed it toward his feet, and he got in the truck, put the truck in reverse. They backed out. He said he'll never go back to that blackberry picking place ever again. And his whole family knows about that encounter. And Don is not the person, or Dorothy, to fib or lie. I know these people are pretty genuine. So as soon as I heard Don talking about it, like he didn't want to talk about it, but since Dorothy opened up the discussion, then he finalized it. You know, he was like, I'm done talking about it. Like he did not want to talk about it. And that's fine. Everybody in town knows who he is. So I get it.
Yeah. And that is one thing that I feel is so compelling. And I've talked to many men that they run into these things either hunting or fishing. And then, like you said, they said, I'm never going back into the woods. Like lifelong hunters, lifelong fishermen. And they're like, nope, not going there again, not doing. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I feel like they stay to themselves. Like this thing did not want to be seen, right? Like and I always wonder, like, do they migrate? I'm like, well, if it's a dog-like thing, it probably doesn't migrate. But muley deer and deer and elk, they migrate and they go with the season. And I know there's a lot of people that have seen them in July and August around here. Yeah. So if it's a mating season, okay. If it's because there's plentiful food, there's so many apple trees around here. You can walk 50 feet in the forest around here, and there's a full apple tree, and you're like, yes. You know, we have wood sorrel and all these good natural things and hazelnuts or filberts on the trees around here. Like it'd be so easy to live off grid as one of these animals. I feel like, I don't know.
And the berries everywhere, all kinds of berries. And
And we actually on Sunday, we had handfuls of blueberries and we found tons of huckleberries, which to me, I thought that my blueberries are still in my garden as well, but I thought they would have been done like a month ago. I know this is kind of a longer, extended, weird summer. I will say my plants, my tomatoes, I can tell it's just a weirder, like the plants are kind of confused with the weather pattern. And the fact that I told my husband this, the smoke in that area, things are going to retreat, right? They're not like a stupid human. Oh, there's a fire over there. Let's go look. No, animals are like, you know what I mean? Like these animals don't want to be anywhere near it. So they smell smoke. They're going to go as far as they can. Number one, they just know they can't breathe. It's not good. It's probably, the hot red fire is probably coming their way. And I just think that these things are smart. I mean, they're in their environment and I happen to see one. This is just weird. It was so weird.
And there's not typically, like you said, it is so vast. It's almost impossible to explain until you experience it yourself. Because I will tell people how vast it is, how you could drive and drive and drive, and you're never going to see a house, you're never going to see another human. And that is what it is, and it is hard to believe, but that's how it is. So the thing probably wasn't expecting you at all. I bet that the with the moss, because I've seen this with Sasquatch, where it'll kind of catch on their hair. I think it's just from the climbing, if this thing's climbing around and it's kind of taking moss off. One of the things that I look for with Sasquatch research is if there's fresh moss that's just like laying, like, why is there this nice green moss? And then, it's almost like it's ripped off of something. And that's kind of like an indicator sometimes, but this has just been great. So thank you very, very much. Yeah. Any, Kenny, any final thoughts?
Absolutely great stuff again by both of you. And I just wanted to thank Shannon for hanging out with us tonight. Of course, if you have any sort of future things I can help you with, definitely let me know. Yeah, do me a favor. Hit me up on Facebook. Send me a friends request. I will invite you to all those groups. And I will also put out some information in some of the NADP chats and ask for some people if they're just willing to sit down and chat with you for a bit, for sure. So thanks for your time.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
thank
you
you
guys.
so much.
This has been great. It's just another way to solidify
Yeah.
and make me feel better because I'm just like, what the heck was
Yeah.
that? And
Yeah.
where did they come from? And why did it look like that? Like I just have so many questions, but yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. And we appreciate you because like Kenny said, we need more data on this. We can't come up with a determination. And we
Right.
just need people to be brave, because it is brave for you to come forward and be like, I don't care whatever, but that's your truth. And that's what I say about with Sasquatch. That's my truth. You don't believe me? Oh, well, but it's your truth.
Yeah.
And so that's, yeah, you
Yeah.
got a good sighting there. All right. Thank you very much.
In the fog of the unknown city, footsteps vanish so swiftly. Empty streets now whisper tales of long lost faces gone so pale. Flickering lights on corners weep. Silent voices haunt the deep. Every door seems like a plea, murmuring secrets to the key. Where have you gone? Where did you stray? Into the night or the light of day? Missing shadows cast